as you can see, we're back at Oscar's and we're working on the Corvette again. We are gonna be replacing the starter. First thing I'm gonna do is pull it out, make sure that we are getting the right one when we go pick up the one that we ordered at O'Reilly's. I also had to bring my own jack, or actually that's Frank's jack. We'll be bringing that back to him. As you know, he left the shop, so I had to bring some tools back to him, so this works out really well. So we're gonna be using his low profile jack, and that's mainly because he has this jack right here that's pretty much meant for monster trucks, which as you can see, he owns one right there. It's probably like 8 inches off the ground.
Hey. Track stance, alright?
Okay.
275 in the rear.
If you guys know what track stance is, I'd consider, like, this is not really a stance at all. I would consider this track, but not a track stance. There's definitely track stance out there, and that's not it.
Why are you hating?
I'm just joking. That was mean.
It's alright. With Velocitors, you can't really go low in the rear.
Yeah, so in the rear of these cars, there's basically just a straight axle. It's pretty much a torsion bar, whatever. So it's pretty much impossible to get camber unless you do camber shims. And basically that means that it's pretty much impossible to get like good fitment and be low, just because it doesn't naturally camber in as the suspension compresses, and it just makes it a lot more difficult to have like a more ET perfect wheel and tire setup. It looks good.
But
don't get me wrong. But if, you are a monster truck.
If I get a daily by summer, I think me and Tyler are gonna slam it and camber it out. So drop a like if you want to see that. Yeah, I think it'd be super fun just to basically go all out on this car. And since it's already flared and everything, it'd be cool to basically just add like negative 12 degrees in the rear. Yeah. Maybe maybe a little bit of camber in the front, and then just, I don't know, make it look pretty wild. Because I know there's one guy out there that has a decent amount of camber. There's a
maybe
guy
like 8
in
degrees
Colorado
or something.
with like -8 right now.
Yeah, we could definitely beat that.
The first guy to camber a Velociter off crazy has a track stance now, so that's pretty funny.
Anyways, moving on, we're gonna get this thing up on some jack stands and proceed to pull the starter.
What are you working on?
Exhaust manifold. It's not like an optimal position at all.
No.
It's like I'm doing pull-ups, but like not really. Oh.
What are you using?
Can I get the jack under here to put under this?
Yeah. So in the last video, Tyler was working on wiring for his radio, and I asked him if the battery was unplugged, and he said no. What are you working on now, Tyler?
Starter.
Is the battery unplugged?
Yeah.
And what happened?
I mean, it sparked. I didn't get shocked, but I think we'll unplug the battery.
We're gonna unplug the battery.
Angel's getting you the hookup.
So Tyler's working on
some of these studs.
Taking out the broken studs.
Yeah, I'm just gonna use this one. This one's probably the best.
And we had a 15 that wouldn't fit around the washer on the nut, but it's like a all-in-one, and we're gonna grind it down. But luckily I have this bucket full of tools that have to be exchanged for warranty.
Can I get a hammer?
In case you guys are wondering, I'm trying to get them to start it with open headers.
I'll do it.
Yeah, see, if I wasn't here, you probably wouldn't have done it, and you guys would have lost that content. But now we're doing it because I persuaded him.
Well, I just want to make sure that it starts.
Well, that too. But remember when things were going good and that first bolt just backed out? And then,
Are we reminiscing?
and then an hour or two later, we're freaking working on that one still. Isn't it like a given though, whenever you work on exhaust, a bolt's gonna break?
Yeah, maybe with your shitty Illinois cars.
Jesus Christ!
Yeah, that's just all the stuff we sprayed on there.
Oh, yeah.
Burning off.
Jesus Christ, dude, that's loud. So it looks like we fixed the starter issue.
So just for a little explanation of what happened, basically the starter and everything was super smooth, the whole starter process. However, disconnecting the mid pipe from the headers, we broke one stud. One stud wasn't even attached, it was actually stripped. And then another stud, something was wrong with it, I don't remember.
Off from the
so
right.
Basically,
off from one side.
Yeah, all on the same side. So basically, the passenger side header has no bolts, or we can basically, I bought some bolts that we'll be able to use, so we would only be able to have two, and that's probably what we're going to continue to do. But basically, it's going to have some sort of exhaust leak just because we only have 2 of the 3 bolts that we're going to be able to do, unless we just cut that off, drill it out, and then retap it. But I think at that point, headers are pretty cheap for this thing. I can get like long tube headers and a mid pipe for like 300 bucks, and I think that might be the direction I want to take this. I'm really not sure yet. We might end up just, you know, calling it a day now, hooking up what we can, and then going back and fixing it, or we might just order some headers, just basically be replacing everything, and then we won't have to worry about the bolt anyways. I'm not sure what I want to do. I'd like for the car to be a lot louder. Whenever I have the exhaust on, it's really quiet, but it does make for a nicer driving car, since this thing is pretty much like dailyable as, you know, whenever it sits. Well, I could daily it now if I wanted to. It'd just be super loud, but I don't know what I want to do. I don't know what direction I want to take this yet. I don't know if I kind of want to just like do some quick things and make it look pretty good for now, or if I really want to kind of like go into detail and make this thing like, you know, pretty nice in the end, and, you know, actually paint it and stuff like that. So we're not really entirely sure what direction we're taking this in, but we'll see. We just got done taking this thing out for a little test drive, making sure everything was okay, and it turns out the exhaust sounds exactly how it did before. I'm sure it's not good not having that extra bolt, but I think it's good enough for now, and I think we can hold off on headers for at least a little bit. I'd like to at least figure out which direction I'm taking this before we start buying a bunch of parts. Anyways, this thing starts and runs every time now, and now I got a pretty decent stereo in there. Like I talked about in the previous video, I would like to get the factory Bose speakers for the front rather than these aftermarket like 3.5 inchers. They just sound a lot better, even though the Bose really isn't even that great to begin with. But anyways, we're pretty much wrapping it up here today. We had a pretty successful day. The starter replacement itself is super easy. I'd recommend it to anyone. You know, it's a very simple job. It's just the bolts breaking on, it's just all 3 bolts breaking on that one header really set us back a lot. We had to go to the store and get bolts and everything and try and get it. So we were able to fix 2 of them, but then one of them just would not budge, and we just couldn't get it out of there. I don't even know what to say to that. But anyways, guys, that's gonna be it for today. Hope you enjoyed today's video, and peace out.